from Zico on that mage, and he's been a force in the European ladder for a really long time. But I don't know if we've actually seen him compete. Like, when's the last time we've seen him actually compete in the AWC, if ever?
Didn't he used to play with Acro? They were like the rogue mage team.
No, that was
like way back.
That was Maro, I think.
Way back in the day, like Legion.
Yeah, I think that was Maro.
No, that was Maro in Legion.
Okay.
Yeah, that was with the boys, right?
Tessia, I think he competed maybe in Wood in some tournament, but he's definitely been more of a ladder player. And right now they're going after Mystic right here. Big damage coming out. They're gonna be playing that Shadow Priest, Mage, Holy Paladin. So choosing to go for that God Comp. We've already seen this exact matchup actually earlier go in favor of the Warrior Elemental Shaman. So let's see if Method can spice it up here with that Shatter. Zuniaki making his debut here as well today on that Shadow Priest.
All right, it's going to be a great opportunity. I mean, Zuniaki is, I feel like when you think Zuniaki, you think Priest, and it's excellent to see him showcase it here on this roster, along with Thessia as well. Was going to be on the bench on that Rogue. So far, Thessia has been doing a good job avoiding damage from the Ret Paladin and the Warrior, but now his healer is in crowd control. Divine Toll triggers from Mystic. Thessia, once again, blinking away, trying to kite the Warrior with that Blessing of Freedom, but Mystic is staying right on target. Mercy charging in now as well. They've got the Spear Bastion as Mercy is running that Kyrian Warrior that could lock Thessia down. He's got to be careful. Caught in the Stormbolt, double, triple crowd control. Beautiful setup here by Method. They're gunning for that Divine Shield from Mystic. Do they have enough crowd control? Word of Glory Battlemaster says nope. Mystic healing himself back up to full, getting back into the battle, charging down Thessia, waiting for that Divine Toll, trying to get a proc on that Ringing Clarity. If he can win the Judgment Lottery, he could be triggering a lot of judgments. Going to be going after the more stationary target, Zuniaki, though, in this instance at this time, and that's a huge amount of damage. Zuniaki and Chaz panic. They overlap defensive cooldowns, both Sacrifice and Dispersion. Nice swap from Reload Esports.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, they're able to get off that damage on Zuniaki. That's the thing. Thessia and Chaz were just so far away. Zuniaki was trying to just bully Lone Tar with crowd control. And luckily for the side of Reload Esports, they were able to kind of set up on a Zuniaki, get some of that burst damage going. And now we'll have to see if Method can once again get a nice setup here. Mercy leaps over with a beautiful intimidating shout. They're going after Thessia. Zuniaki backs him up really quickly with that life grip. Nicely done. Now looking for a Master Spell to get him out of the Hammer of Justice. Chaz getting lower. But some off heals coming in from Zuniaki. It looks like Chaz will be able to survive without trading that Trinket or Divine Shield. Great backup there by the side of Method. And now Thessia just throwing out a Combustion with that Fear coming in from Zuniaki into the Pandaren Racial, that Quaking Palm. Great crowd control from Zuniaki, but unfortunately they're not able to really get anything. I mean, Mystic was able to just heal himself up. All they got was a commanding shout from Mercy, and Reload Esports is looking very durable so far.
Yeah, looking very strong right now, and they're slowly but surely withering down that mana bar of Chaz. Thessia now using that Night Fae blink right there, and now he's going to be stuck here in that Bastion Spear. Going to activate the Alter Time here. No purge coming in from Lontar, though. Nice crowd control there by Zuniaki. Gets the silence there as well at the end of that Psychic Horror. Sheep onto Mystic. Thessia going for the Ring of Frost. Not going to be able to land it right now. And now once again looking to kite here. That was his setup. Now he needs to drag these melees away from the Resto Shaman so that he can actually get some slows that don't get dispelled. But he is taking massive damage. Dragon's Breath comes out. He drops to about 1% HP. Actually, his card has just triggered right there from about 60% to that red damage with that Divine Toll, I do believe, from Mystic. So that's going to be a pretty big win there for Reload Esports. And if they're not careful on the side of Method, Thessia can just easily die. Ooh, Zuniaki now as well, forced into the dispersion. Big pressure coming out from Reload Esports. Chaz now pushing in for the crowd control chain. They get the Hammer of Justice there onto Mystic, but actually I think it got dispelled there by Lontar. So that setup not looking very crisp there from Method. And now once again, Thessia just needs to run, needs to try to reset his combustion. Actually does have it up now, but needs to try to find some crowd control onto Lontar and pull the trigger. There it is, dude. Big damage coming in onto Mystic. Actually opting not to use his Divine Shield. Just catches a big Word of Glory, and he's going to be completely safe there. That was a massive hit, but unfortunately, that was a combust. So Thessia now basically going to have no bullets left in the chamber for a while.
All right, let's see if they can stay alive to that next round of combustion. Zuniaki's got Shadow Fiend, he's got Power Infusion, but right now Thessia is caught in that Spear of Bastion trying to escape, but this is a huge amount of pressure potentially from Mystic, proccing his Avenging Wrath. looking to load in here. Doesn't find too much damage. Actually, a bit on the back foot. Chaz traded sacrifice throughout that onslaught, redirecting damage to himself. He's trying to recover from that redirected damage. Thesha is just free casting fireballs, trying to reset that combustion, going even for a cheeky frostbolt. I don't think it's going to be doing too much. Zuniaki can't really get away. He's going to fade when Chaz gets stunned. Mercy leaps in to fear out of his stun. They swap over to Thesha. Excellent execution here. Warbreaker down, tons of damage. Thesha tries to deflect with the Dragon's Breath, double Frost Nova, Ring of Frost, but that double Unbound Freedom from Mystic going to reconnect immediately. Hammers down on Chaz. I think that was Overwatch reflected potentially onto Chaz. Nicely done there by Mercedes. Chaz has to actually use Gladiator's Medallion to escape from that. They still have Blessing and Protection and Ice Block. They can't rely on Cauterize, so they need to be a bit careful. Double Dragon's Breath, Thesha trying to peel. Zuniaki building up insanity. He's got a full bar, grips Thesha on the Stormbolt. Mercy charges over. Mystic goes for a Hammer of Justice. Chaz has no way to escape. They win Shear the Mass Dispel. Nice setup. Zuniaki Door of Shadows away. Doesn't want to stack up for cleave on that sweeping strikes from the Warrior, but they are right on target. Lava Burst lobbing in onto Thesha. All of Reload Esports, all over Thesha, trying to blink back to midfield and drag the fight out. Mercy leaps right back onto target. Avenging Wrath up again for Mystic. Big damage. Thesha pops the Battle Master, boosting his help, but he doesn't trust it. He's going to Ice Block when Chaz is interrupted, and this pressure is endless from Reload Esports.
It is, and I mean, you can't blame Thessia in that situation. He has no Cauterize, so he can just get taken down by Mystic relatively quickly. I mean, that's going to be the Ice Block. That's going to be the Battle Masters. The one thing Theseus has going on for him right now is the fact that he has Combustion, but he has to hold out. One more setup. Here it is, the Combustion onto Mystic. Can they get the Divine Shield? Mystic doesn't want to throw the game. He just uses the Divine Shield, wants to continue the assault onto Thesia, realizing they don't really have too many defensive cooldowns left. That being said, I mean, Chaz, some of his major cooldowns are rotating back up. He has that Sacrifice, so there's one more safety net and the Void Shift, so Method's still not looking too bad, and they're able to get off that precious Divine Shield from Mystic. But both these teams still in this game. 11% dampening at this point. That's, you just have to be very careful. The Void Shift comes in, and they just kill him through it. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They 100-0 him, get the Void Shift, and then 100-0 him again. This is what I'm talking about. I'm sure this is why Zico was like, yeah, you do not want to be a Fire Mage against this composition. That was nuts.
Yeah.
You good, Ben? Are you all right?
I've been there. Trust me.
Just having flashbacks there. Well done by Reload. Esports game number 1. Go ahead.
You just like, as a mage, I personally, I don't play Night Fae, but you blink and you're a seed. You just turn into a seed. You're like, what just happened?
You're at 80%. All of a sudden, you're running super fast. You're like, wait, what? Cauterize? Like, I'm still on 80%. I didn't even drop to like 1% and I get healed up. No, it's just my HP never moved from 80%. I'm just faster now. Definitely been there. And the craziest thing about that swap was they Stormbolt the healer. They proc him, or like they drop him to like 20%. He gets swapped to full, and then they kill him before the Stormbolt even ends. Like, so in one Stormbolt, they kill him twice.
All right. Well, we are going to look at a replay on that, and we can traumatize you guys once more.
Traumatize any mage players. I think a lot of people are happy to see a mage die like that. I feel like maybe me a little bit. Thesha here at these final moments. Obviously, you see Warbreaker from the Warrior. There's half of Thesha's health. Mystic has Avenging Wrath, and he's going to press Divine Toll, I would believe. There's Divine Toll. Another half of Thesha's health. Spear of Bastion. There's the Void Shift. Lava Burst from Lone Tar, actually, I think is what forced a lot of that damage. And Resto Shaman Lava Burst hits very hard. You do want to make sure that when your team is bursting, if you're a Shaman player, that you're casting Lava Burst as the healer. I feel like that kind of tipped it over the edge and why he lost that second round of health as well as the first one.
The saddest part of that clip as well is that Chaz sacked him right after he died, so he got sacked. Yeah. So you can heal the player in the seed, and you can also heal the seed itself. And he sacked the player, but if he didn't use it, he could have sacked the seed, and at least allowed him to res there. So that was just the worst possible outcome right there.
I mean, was there really much that could have been done on the side of Method, or was that just kind of how it was going to go from the beginning?
I mean, they relied on the swap, right? But honestly, it's the Divine Toll. It's the RNG. You can see a Judgment go, and hit one of each player, or you can get all on the same guy and get a quadra crit, and you know it's a beautiful thing. See these mages get destroyed like that.
Man, even for you, even coming from you, a mage, Zico?
No, I'm speaking from Super T's point of view right now.
Right. You're a traitor, man. All right.
How am I a traitor? I've never been a mage.
No, I meant Zico. I was calling Zico the traitor, man.
I mean, it's fun.
Okay, so Method has locked in Tolvaron Arena. How do we feel about that, you guys?
They're gonna
Makes
play the
sense.
same
It's a
thing.
big map. I mean, if you're playing double caster comp, that's the map you want to go to. And that's exactly what we just saw from Skill Capped EU, where they locked in the Elemental Shaman Fire Mage on Tolvaron. They're actually able to pick up a win against the same composition. I think that's what they're going to be looking to set up here as well. And it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to just kind of run down Thessia in this matchup. However, I want to see them make more swaps on Zuniaki. If Zuniaki is getting too comfortable chasing after the Shaman, he's 100 yards away from his healer. I think you just go after the Shadow Priest a little bit. But if they can stay on target on Thessia once again. We can see exactly what just happened, where a mage can get absolutely just destroyed in just a matter of moments if, the procs light up right.
So you think we'll see the same compositions for both of those teams, Ven?
I would say so, yeah. I don't know what could they run with Waz? Like, if Waz was to come into this matchup, what could he play? I mean, they could play Shadow Priest Warrior, but I don't think that beats Ret Warrior. They could play Windwalker Monk Mage. I don't think that wins. A Warrior Mage, I don't think that wins. I don't know. I feel like as a mage, you don't want to play this matchup unless you have a Shadow Priest or an Elemental Shaman on your team. Then you have a little bit more flexibility playing the Wizard setup, but with a melee, you were just way too susceptible to being trained, I think.
All right. Zico, Super T's, what options do you think Method has here?
I think you're going to do the same comp. That's what I'm expecting, just bigger map. Zuniaki's playing kind of an interesting build, too. I feel like not a lot of people are running Driven to Madness PvP talent, so whenever you're attacked, not in Void form, it reduces the cooldown. So he's trying to get Void Eruption a little bit more often and then catch the cooldown cycle off. But they didn't really hit him too much. I feel like he didn't get a lot of value. Obviously, Devouring Plague is going to be removed from the Ret Paladin, so getting a longer lasting Devouring Plague isn't going to be too much value. It's kind of just a tough comp as a Shadow Priest to build your character specifically. But again, this is a comp that's built around setup and then 100-0ing somebody. And now that we're on Tournament Realm with max health pools and players have had time to practice into all of those classes and they know where that big burst damage is coming from, they can just stop it and they have more room to work with. Like, that little extra wiggle room on a Ret is the difference between dying without bubbling or bubbling. Just an extra 10,000 health will give you that time to react. So we see now Ret Paladin doing a lot better. Not that it wasn't doing great, but even better than where it was.
And, it was kind of an underrepresented class last year in BFA, and, we've already seen it a number of times already here in this Cup number 1 for Shadowlands. What do you think some of the underrepresented classes are going to be, then, going forward?
What do I think the underrepresented classes are going to be going forward? What are we not going to see much of? Well, I don't think... First things that come to my mind are we're not going to see too much Frost Mage and Arcane Mage for a little bit. Maybe Frost Mage did get some buffs. Assassination Rogue, Outlaw Rogue, probably won't see too much of that. Healers, I would be extremely surprised if we see a Mistweaver Monk. Probably not going to happen, but it is possible. I feel like if we find ourselves in a world where Affliction Warlocks get good, maybe the Mistweaver Monk could have its place with Healing Spheres dispelling UA. It could be strong, but for now, I don't think we're going to be seeing any of that. It kind of just seems like the best DPS right now is Frost Death Knight, in no particular order. Frost Death Knight, Warrior, Retribution Paladin, Elemental and Enhancement Shaman, Mage, Fire Mage in particular, Shadow Priest, and I don't know if I missed any, but it seems to be kind of like those are the main ones. There's like 7 or 8 specs and just compositions built off those specializations, Subtlety Rogue as well. But yeah, we'll see. For now, it really feels like that Ret Warrior composition is it's doing well in Europe, and we'll have to see if Method can bounce back in this series.
We certainly will, then. It is game number 2, Reload Esports up 1-0 versus Method.
Yeah, and gates are open here on Tolvaron Arena. And let's see. I mean, I feel like sub rogue also is rogue in general is something we're not going to be seeing too much of because people have access to that Sepuz secret, which stacks with the orc ratio. So on the TR, it's extremely hard to get those sub rogue setups. And I feel like that's why the sub rogues we've seen so far haven't also been doing very well. And now we're going to see Mystic and Mercy. There is the Spear of the Bastion right there. And Tessia trying to get out of there, but he gets caught up in a beautiful cap totem, sniped there by Lontar, and that's going to be the sacrifice coming out immediately from Chaz. They're looking to swap to Chaz here, but Chaz, reading the situation, going to dodge that one, and now Mercy on the back foot, going to also leap to safety. This map is already doing a lot of difference here for Method. Let's see if they can turn things around here onto Mystic, force out the Divine Shield maybe. Beautiful Word of Glory, Battle Master combo right there. Going to keep Mystic nice and healthy. Lontar now out of crowd control. They're going to be going after Zuniaki due to the positioning here of Tessia. And Tessia, he's going to just be able to chill here for a second, stack up some pyros, stack up some damage with that fire starter, and then potentially look for a setup.
Zontar's really far away, though. Chaz gets stunned up. Zuniaki could be in trouble. Trying to use Door of Shadows to escape back to his team. Managing to get the cast off. Mystic and a Polymorph. Mercy going to charge in. Reconnect. Thesha double blinks in on Lone Tar. If they swap to Thesha, that could be dangerous. Nice intervene reflect there right before getting stunned. Good timing by Mercy on that Overwatch intervene. Thesha now the target with no blinks. This could be devastating. They use Blessing of Freedom to try and get Thesha away from Mercy and Mystic, and he has managed to kite. Now they're going back onto Zuniaki, and Zuniaki's not running instant void form, so this could be tough for him. Double stun lock, beautiful combo, triple crowd control, reflect on the poly, cap totem out. That's going to net Reload Esports a dispersion from Method, and now Method look to try and reposition. They swap over to Thesha. Half his health is gone. Chaz bombs in a big heal with that Divine Favor. Now they swap back to Zuniaki, and Reload Esports, I love their targeting. Hit whoever is closer to Lone Tar, maximize your damage, land these spell reflects. We're going to see an intervene spell reflect on this Polymorph in the near future. Lone Tar has grounding. They win shear the Polymorph. Lone Tar tries to bomb in a heal. He roots the Mage. Has grounding for this poly if they need it. Doesn't look like they're going to grounding totem just yet. Dispels Mercy out. Double stun lock combo. Triple crowd control. Reflect on the polymorph. Really annoying for Thesha to get too much going here. Now finally landing crowd control 3-on-1 against Mercy. And Mercy going to leap behind the pillar. Thesha soul-shaped combustion. Rune of Power down, trying to unload a ton of damage, but he had to reposition out of his Rune of Power thanks to Mercy's positioning. Despite that, they did trade Die by the Sword, really just respecting that Fire Mage cooldown. Having experienced it a lot, they don't want to end up feeding to that cooldown, so it's a fair trade, but being down Die by the Sword does mean they should be cautious. This double stun, though, is devastating. Always Stormbolt Chaz, hammer adjust to Zuniaki. Neither the Shadow Priest or the Paladin can play, and then they just hammer down a ton of damage. Mercy with an Overwatch spell reflect again on the Polymorph. Mercy is making this an absolute nice nightmare for Thesha.
Yeah, there's no question about it right now. Thessia really trying to just reset that combustion, and that's one of the problems if you are trained as a fire mage. Much more difficult to actually get off those fireballs and get those 5 seconds off your combustion every single time you do. But Thessia now just spamming out the fireballs. Mystic doesn't want to overextend, just going to be switching over to Zuniaki, and this is exactly what you want to see. If Zuniaki is too close to Lone Tar, you have to swap to him and kind of swat him away. And now in this situation, Thessia is the closest wizard, and you can just go after him. Chaz, in the meantime, looking like he wants to sit down for a drink. Can they shut it down? If he can actually recover some mana, it's going to be big on this map, about a minute away from dampening. And if you can recover your mana at this point in the game, things are going to be looking good. And it looks like Method just opting to play in the open, just continuously drag, continuously run away. But Reload Esports not making it easy for them, and they're continuing to push the pace.
Yeah, and Zuniaki's in a lot of trouble here. It could be the dispersion here. He's going to respect that situation and immediately trade it. Tessia now getting reflected on that polymorph with that Overwatch. Mercy now looking to get that pressure. Zuniaki, though, just fades out of that spear. One of the kind of easy counters for that one is that Shadow Priest fade. So definitely want to try to use those more onto the mage here, but Tessia was kind of in a really good spot there, so it was hard to reach there for the Warrior and the Ret. They're just going to keep chugging damage here onto Zuni. Nice double stun here. Swap onto Mystic. He's going to use the Divine Shield right away there. Lontar doesn't want to trigger out of that polymorph, and instead they're going to trade out the Divine Shield. So nice hit there from Method, showing signs of life, and Chaz as well, recovering a lot of his mana right there. Tessia, beautiful pre alter time there with those images as well. It's going to be able to survive for a little bit longer. And there's the soul shape from Tessia's Night Fae, going to be blinking away again, always trying to drag the melees away from Lontar. But like we kind of mentioned earlier, Mystic and Mercy doing a great job just attacking whatever is closest to Lontar, trying to not only win on just pressure, but also making sure that they have that mana lead if the game gets extended. Mercy now getting polymorphed on that Spear of Bastion. They get the kick there onto Tessia, and he is in a lot of trouble here. This could be the sacrifice from Chaz. No, he's going to use the wings, and that should be enough to keep Tessia alive here. And this map is paying dividends so far for Method as we have entered Dampening.
All right, we see Mystic just cleaving down Thesha and Zuniaki, dispelled out of that Hammer of Justice. Great Sanctuary timing, actually. Mystic able to break up the chain. Zuniaki chop, now swapping back to Thesha. Mana still even between the teams despite Dampening stacking up here. So as long as Chaz can maintain that mana, they've got a great win condition and just blasting out one of the melee and midfield deep Dampening. Zuniaki looking to try and go into Void form, and they know it. They're going to swap right to Zuniaki, try and slow down his pressure here, really put the pressure on. Zuniaki's trying to fake all the interrupts. He can't fake the pummel of Mercy. Still going for that Void Eruption, finally finding it. Jumping into Void form, getting a lot of extra damage, trying to purge off the Earth Shield while Lontar is silenced, looking for a Mind Games. If Zuniaki can get a Mind Games on Mystic, that could be devastating, but he's got to deal with Grounding Totem. He's got to get through a ton of interrupts, and he just doesn't have the time to get through so much lockdown. He's absolutely being torn apart, having to fade and retreat back to the corner, not even able to find the Mind Games. And what's actually a nice counter to the Mind Games is the Battlemaster Trinket. Mystic just trades that every time, boosting his health up and ignoring that negative healing effect on the Mind Games. And because it's the tournament realm, you have access to all that gear. That counterplay is really limiting the options for Method to find victory, because they would typically win with Combustion or Mind Games, and Mind Games is now off the table with that Battlemaster. Lontar repositions on top of Thesha. They really want to try and get aggressive. Chaz is in position, though, for a Hammer of Justice. Who's going to pull the trigger first here? Mystic's Avenger Wrath comes up in 20. Zuniaki's moving closer and closer to Lontar, building up his insanity. Chaz gets stunned first. Thesha gets cracked by a Wake of Ashes. Barely gripped to safety, popping that Blazing Barrier with the Triune Ward. Zuniaki jumping in with Dora Shadows. Mystic trying to intercept him, but gets locked down by a hammer. Huge pressure. Rally comes through, but it's not enough. They absolutely shred him to pieces. Method tie it up 1-1.
Wow, what an incredible game. Tying it up, Method 1-1 now in game number 2 in this best of 5 series. Lots of moments to unpack there. Both of those healers, Supatis just pulling out all the stops to keep their team alive as well.
Maybe they weren't ready for it. Zuniaki had Silence, and they had Hodge to cover Mystic Sanctuary, so that's the main threats there. If they can win with some Shadow Priest Instinct, Crowd Control, and stun the Ret to stop the support from the Ret Paladin, then that's their win condition, and they just nailed that over and over. They started getting a repeat strategy. They were able to get Mystic out in the open more frequently, and it finally worked for them. Now, it was still pretty close on their best map, so I feel like on a worse map, they're going to need a different option, and I mean, Zuniaki, what can he really ult? He's got Shadow. Can he break? I feel like I've seen Zuniaki play Ret in the past, but I don't really think they want to go into a mirror if they had to. But what else do they have? I mean, they could do Windwalker Mage, maybe, try and drag that out, but I feel like that's still going to be pretty tough. You're going to get cleaved down. Their options on small maps are pretty tough. I feel like you bring in Waz, you try Rogue Mage Priest just because you're so good at it on a small map, and try to make that work instead. And then if it doesn't, then go from there. But break out what you're best at, I think, at this point.
All right, 1-1 now. Both of these teams tied up heading into game number 3. Let's take a look at a replay from that last game, though.
I want to know, Lontar had Trinket there at the end. Was he not in range for that Spirit Link, or like what happened there from Lontar's perspective? Because Mystic had Bubble coming back up, and here Lontar's getting aggressive. He's trying to avoid the fear from Zuniaki. So Zuniaki is zoning him. There is the door, and now he gets disarmed. He trinkets into a silence. So he got stuck at the pillar there, it looked like. That is extremely unfortunate, because that made him out of line of sight, so he couldn't actually trinket Link right away. And instead he ended up getting silenced, giving Zuni kind of more time to get that. Nice play from Zuniaki though as well, but definitely a mistake there from Lontar. He also had Trinket when they got the bubble on Mystic, so yeah. I feel like they could have definitely played that a little bit better defensively.
And we saw both of these teams lock in the same compositions 2 games in a row. Sid talked about it a little bit, Ven, but I want to hear your thoughts. Would you like to see them lock in those same compositions, maybe work something out a little bit differently, or do they need to change it up?
I don't know. It really is tough. I feel like it is kind of map dependent at this point. I feel like Reload Esports, more than likely, if I was them, I'd go to Hook Point, just the smallest map you possibly can. Just sit on the mage the entire game, and you're going to be looking good. If they do that, I feel like Method would be kind of throwing, playing the Shadow Priest Fire Mage. I don't think it's an ideal matchup for them, but I don't know what's better. I mean, you could try to go with the Rogue Mage, but I feel like Method is the type of team where if they can play Rogue Mage, they will play Rogue Mage. And I don't think it's a surprise what Reload Esports is playing. Just the fact that they didn't lock it in blind, they didn't try it in the counter comp. Maybe they go here. Maybe it's not as bad of a matchup as I think, but I feel like we're going to see similar matchups for the rest of the series. And if we go to a small map, I think Method will likely lose as that double wizard setup unless they switch something up, but I'm not sure what they could really run that would win.
Any ideas, Zico? If we go to a small map here, what do you think Method really has?
I think the best line of play for Method is probably just go, Rogue Mage Paladin, I would say. I think that's,
right.
It's not a great option, but I think comfort pick, and it's something, you get the WAS effect at least, you know what I mean? Anything can happen when you put that player in, so I feel like that's the best line of play, but it's going to be an uphill battle no matter what here. Some of the other options, I think I've seen Zuni on Warrior a decent amount, but again, they also have WAS on Warrior, so if they were going to play that Warrior, probably would just bring him in right away. I think their best winning strategy would probably be Rogue Mage Paladin.
Yeah, and like you're saying, that is a comfort pick for Method. It looks like they are going to be going that same composition for Method here. Going to be going to Dalaran Sewers, though. Now we're seeing all of the specs and the map on the board. How are we feeling here?
Should have went to Hook Point.
Well, yeah, I think the
What
map
did you
could
say?
have been. I think you said it should have gone to Hook Point.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah.
Okay.
The map is small, but it could have been smaller, I think, is the line of thinking we have right now. But at least this gives, Lone Tar is going to have a little bit more flexibility with the pillars available to him. I don't know if I love the map. I think what Method should be doing in this matchup is just running around the out. Like, just basically ignore the central platform and just run around in circles. Just do laps over and over and over like you're in track in high school or middle school or whatever, and just run around. Just try to just pull away from the shaman as much as you can. Just create as much space as you can. And I feel like if Method does that, they'll have a shot in this matchup. But obviously, this is a map that does favor Reload Esports. It's why they picked it. But this matchup being locked in makes me feel like Method does not have a better option than Shadow Priest Mage. They feel like this is pretty much the only comp they can run.
I feel like if they've been spending any time in Oribos, they should be pretty well practiced in running in circles.
It's true.
True.
Very true.
Did
you guys have to do that in middle school? They made you run a mile?
Yeah.
Every day for me.
Wait.
What?
Wow.
In high school, I
only
had
did
to run
it
them
once
out
a
every
year.
day as a warm-up.
Okay.
That's why you're so
That's a bunch
fit
of
now,
fit
though.
middle
That's why you're so
schoolers.
fit there.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. All right, well, let's see if Method brought their track shoes. It is game number 3, Reload Esports versus Method, all tied up.
All right, let's see what they end up doing here. Tessia actually looking for a Dragon's Breath Poly here, potentially. I think they're going to try to disarm Mystic, Dragon's Breath Poly, when they get the Fear right there. Oh, they're going to go for Mercy, actually, with the Fear onto Mystic. Beautiful damage coming out here. Lontar, Trinket, Spirit Link, Mercy, Trinket, Parry, and Mystic popping his wings. Excellent opener here from Method, and I gotta say, what happened to that spear right there? You got grip and it just kind of malfunctioned. I'm not sure there, but yeah, that was pretty nice. And now I think it's time for Tessia to start running laps here on the bottom side. You can see him already going for that line of play here. He had a great opener, but now it's time for Reload Esports to get their own pressure.
Oh, double intimidating shout. Bloodstained protection trades here, protecting Thesha. Chaz could get swapped too, though, on Dalaran Sewers. They're chopping him away. They don't want to jump downstairs on the bottom side. Chaz could just reposition. Triple crowd control. Nice setup here. Mystic going to disrupt it with a Trinket Sanctuary. However, that is another Gladiators medallion down, and none of the players on Reload Esports have it. If Thesha can get a lot of fireballs here, reset that combustion, I could even see swapping to the healer as an option, but Lone Tar's in a polymorph right now. They're not able to get too much damage, though. There's no cooldowns available, and Mystic and Mercy are just continuing to chop away at Thesha. Thesha trying to reposition across the map, crossing through center field to the opposite bottom side. Zuniaki going to get swapped to, and I like this about Reload Esports. They just hit whatever caster is closer to their healer. They don't overextend and chase the mage and then leave Zuniaki alone on Lone Tar. They immediately switch targets, force the Shadow Priest back, and then go back onto the mage, or just continue attacking the Shadow Priest. Big Divine Toll hit. Zuniaki going to fade on low health. Is he going to jump down the side here? Lone Tar not in a great position, trying to get in line of sight here. Spear Bastion on Zuniaki around the corner, trying to get picked up. Chad's going to respect it and trade the sacrifice, but won't have sacrifice now for the mage. Reload Esports are happy with that cooldown. They're going to retreat back to the boxes. Zuniaki tries to reposition with Door Shadows, catch Lone Tar off guard. He's not caught off guard, and they're repositioned at the box. Zuniaki moving in. Chaz following him. Who are they going to go after? They've got combustion. They've got power infusion in 5 seconds. This could be a big power play, but they need to initiate it now. A couple seconds before those Gladiators medallions. Who's going to be the target? Combustion available. They're choosing not to pop it. Mercy knows he's the target. He's line of sighting, avoiding damage, but now Lone Tar is out in the open. Chaz is in range. Zuniaki's channeling Void Form. Thesha jumps in. Thesha gets gripped away from the leap. Thesha can free cast. Who are they going to go after? They're just not finding a target. Despite all that crowd control, they couldn't find a target to go after, and now medallions are available. Lone Tar Mercy can escape crowd control. Just solid positioning from Reload Esports, avoiding that checkmate position, and now they can lead the charge.
Yeah, let's see what they can actually get done here. Thessia kind of pinned down right now. Chaz is getting cleaved down as well. This could easily be the Divine Shield. Looks like he will potentially be able to escape. Zuniaki backing him up with some heals. Now looking for crowd control on Lone Tar. He kills off the Tremor Totem. Let's see if he can actually land anything here. Zuniaki charging forward, but Mercy, Mystic, Lone Tar all kind of working together as a unit, just avoiding Thessia, not allowing him to reset those fireballs on his combustion. But with that combustion available, not going to really do too much. We'll just have to see if Method can actually find a target. Combustion does get ripped out. Mercy taking a little bit of damage. He gets the interrupt on Zuniaki. A beautiful defensive fear into a Stormbolt on Thessia. Mercy playing that absolutely beautifully, keeping himself alive, allowing Mystic and Lone Tar to hold on to those cooldowns. That was incredibly well done.
Yeah, very nice defensive play so far from Mercy. Kind of heads up running, and now the pressure on Zuniaki. They kick the Master Spell there onto the Hammer of Justice that Chaz was in. And Zuniaki, though, going to be able to recover there without having to use his dispersion now. Going after Tizia here again. Let's see what they can get done here. Tizia blinking defensively. They get the silence onto Lone Tar. Big damage here onto Mercy. Mercy going to trinket there and use that rally right there. He also caught a Word of Glory. War Banner got dropped there as well. So a lot of cooldowns coming out there from Mercy. And now finally he's going to get back on his target. Nice preemptive blink there from Tizia on that Spear of Bastion there. That's going to save him a ton of cooldowns. And Chaz is going to also be able to save a ton of mana. So far, you got to say, Method has been doing some clean setups here. Going after the Warrior, absolutely the right target here. If they can get a Fear onto Mystic or Silence onto Lone Tar into Sheep or something, that could be enough. They get the Sheep onto Mystic. They get the Hammer of Justice. There's the Fear onto Lone Tar. Your trinket's out. Mercy in a world of trouble gets disarmed on his trinket. Mystic now using his bubble here as well to get a few more Word of Glories out. And Panda is there onto Lone Tar into the Silence there as well. Endless CC chain. And that was a 2-for-1 cooldown trade right there. They get Mystic's bubble, Mercy's trinket, Lone Tar's trinket as well. So now the game is completely wide open. The next setup could actually close things out. Mercy could just end up falling over here. They have combustion too.
Anyone, really. There's no Gladiators medallions, no Divine Shield. If they just go after Mystic with combustion, it could be lights out. They just need to set up triple crowd control. Maybe it's time to push aggressive, use Dispersion, use Divine Shield, get on top of Lone Tar, find crowd control in 3 players, and just go for the kill. At this point, no one can escape crowd control. They just need to nail triple crowd control, and they should be able to take this. And if they take that swing match, it's so important for the series. Zuniaki's moving in on top of Lone Tar. Lone Tar pre-Tremor. Zuniaki kills the Tremor, getting in position to go for a stun and a fear potentially. They need to crowd control Mystic, though. They cannot allow him to use Sanctuary on Zuniaki's crowd control. They're stunning Thesha around the pillar. They stun Chaz up. They're pushing for Ice Block here. Zuniaki going to grip Thesha away from the burst. Now that they've recovered that double stun lock combo, they need to push. They got 15 more seconds until that medallion is available. Reload Esports are just playing defense, waiting for those medallions. 9 more seconds, 8 more seconds. Zuniaki fades in to go for crowd control. Stun on the Lone Tar. Where's the Psychic Scream? trying to bait out the Sanctuary potentially, but holding on to it. They opt to not go for it. They have to kill the War Banner. That War Banner excellently placed, taking a ton of globals away, and they're just stalling the assault. Ring of Frost, double Psychic Scream. Mystic and Mercy need to help each other. They're actually just going after Zuniaki, trying to kill him as defense instead. Mystic uses Medallion, picks himself back up, and they survive the combustion. It doesn't even look like the combustion is going to scratch Reload Esports. Now that combustion's out of the way, they're going to have free reign for quite some time.
No question about it. Mercy has his Gladiator's Medallion, Lone Tar as well. Chaz actually getting swapped to right now. He's pinned down, but they're pressuring Mercy. He needs to be careful. Zuniaki looking for crowd control. Can they take him down? Mercy still has all his defensive cooldowns available. The Dragon's Breath into a potential poly, but it gets reflected. Nicely done there by Mercy. Using that Overwatch Reflect. He is also using the Legendary for Reflect in this matchup, so kind of a nightmare for Thesia to land the Polymorphs against this team, but does manage to find one. Let's see what Method's going to be able to set up with that Polymorph. It just seems like Zuniaki's on the run. They're on the back foot. Mana is not in favor of Method, and anytime Reload Esports finds themselves in a situation where they've got no trinket, they got no answer, they just pull away. They play very defensive, preemptive War Banners on the go that's keeping them alive. And they're staying in this matchup very nicely.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed to do. They were in that checkmate position, managed to stall, but now they have that Trinket Spirit Link in their back pocket. The bubble is coming back up for Mystic. There's a small window here if they can CC Lontar through his Trinket, like Zuniaki's been able to do in the previous game. But it is a small window. Let's go. Here we go. We got the Sheep. We got the Silence. Mind Games coming out onto Mercy. Where's the Fear? Zuni doesn't have it right there, but the Spirit Link gets dropped there from Lontar. So another nice push there. Tesia trying to immediately reload his combustion there as well. Now Zuni taking a lot of trouble here still. Mercy also still taking a decent beating here. Lontar using that Ascendance there to keep his teammate going. Master Spell being casted out from Zuni. I think he's going to be able to get it there onto Chaz, but Chaz now caught up in a Fear on that Master Spell cast, and Zuni now could go down. He might need to use his Void Shift here if he's not careful. Keeps himself alive for a little bit longer there. Well played there by Zuniaki. I do believe that was the Desperate Prayer there coming out from him, as well as the Sacrifice from Chaz. No, that was the Battle Master and the Sacrifice from Chaz. Zuni now trinketing out of that Stormbolt, still taking a decent amount of damage. Tesia looking for the Blink Dragon's Breath here onto Lontar potentially. Lontar realizing and dropping that preemptive Earthen Wall Totem, realizing that the CC is coming. Nice double ring by Tesia, but an equally nice banner by Mercy. Gonna shut down that CC.
Those War Banners have been key to their victory here. They've stopped every important setup. Mercy is on fire on this Warrior, multi-classing from Warlock like a god here in this series against Method. Will they be able to pull off victory on Dalaran and Sewer? Zuniaki stunned up, big hit by Mystic. They're just trying to polymorph him again on that Wake of Ashes. Blinks into Dragon's Breath, polymorph Lone Tar instead, switching it over. Zuniaki fades to try and escape to safety. Vampiric Embrace to pick himself back up, but mana is quite limited. Intervene, Overwatch, Reflect onto Mystic. They're pushing for the kill onto Zuniaki. He has to use Dispersion almost immediately as they connect. Dampening continues to rise. Divine Shield available. Gladiator's Medallion available for the entire team. Huge damage in onto Thesha. Chaz trying to recover with Divine Favor, but they cut right through that. Chaz now stunned up. Thesha has to Ice Block. Where's the Shatter? Are they even going to go for it? Maybe they're holding it for a bop. Divine Toll swap to Chaz. Chaz has the Divine Shield. Mercy still holding on to the Shattering Throw. Divine Shield and Ice Block in one go. Zuniaki now swapped to. They're forcing the life swap potentially. Here comes the combustion. Mercy just instantly going to drop that die by the sword. Now they switch to Mystic. He's going to drop the Shield of Vengeance, and that's it. Zuniaki is just going to get chopped up. That was almost going to be all three members of Method going down. He couldn't life swap. Everyone was dead. I'm going to trade my 30% for your 30%. There's nothing he could do. And Reload Esports go to match point.
That was insane. It was the Avenging Wrath Ice Block. Divine Shield,
Man.
You're gonzo. Like, it's just that damage coming in from Reload Esports, really showing a lot of flexibility in that matchup as well, knowing their lose conditions. So when they're in that situation where it seemed like Method was finally going to win, they just played it out very patiently, using the pillar, using line of sight, preemptive War Banners to stay alive. And it's like you said, that was key for them to win that game.
Sounds like Method should have enrolled in your middle school, Elliot, when they were doing the mile every day. They weren't quite doing that track running like you're explaining around Tolerant. But anyways, let's take a look at that replay from that last game.
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, it's just when they had nothing, they just ran a lot. And I mean, at this point, you're in dampening. Chaz is Zoom. Look at this. Tesia, Ice Block. Chaz, Hammer of Justice. Now they tap target to Zuniaki. No, they tap target to Chaz first. There's the bubble. Now they tap target to Zuniaki. and that's going to be the end of Zuniaki very shortly here. Mystic trinketing out, dropping the sacrifice here just so he can stay aggressive, and boom goes the shield there as well. The shield of vengeance cracking at the same time as Mystic getting that big hit as well. And that's one thing you got to be very scared of. Rets, when they have that shield of vengeance, it does a lot of damage. So you can actually burst down your own teammates with that. And that's pretty much what happened there. But I think that was a pretty much done game either way at that point. All the defense was just up once again, you know. So I think at that point it was just GG.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, it's going to be Method's map choice here. Reload Esports on match point. Pressure certainly on for Method. Where do we see this team going next, Ben? Is it going to be a big map for them?
Normally I'd say Ashamains would be the next logical option for them, but I'm thinking maybe the replacement for Ashamains is our new map, Empyrean, and we'll have to see. I mean, it is quite a large map. There's a lot of room, a lot of space to run around and bait people in the open, like Supitis was saying. So I'm kind of wondering if that's going to be the new go-to outside of Tolvaruna for these double caster setups. But one thing's for sure, they need a large map. The smaller maps do not play into their win condition. I feel like Method actually, they had a lot of nice setups in that game, but this came down to Reload Esports doing a great job, playing defensive when they needed to, and eventually, getting that Avenging Wrath that just crushed everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we'll see shortly here what they decide to do exactly. Do you think then that it's likely, Zico, that we're going to see Method try once again with this double caster comp?
Yeah, I think they're going to lock it in on a big map. Maybe the new map, maybe Ashermans. I think those are both pretty good picks for them, the best things that they could pick. And I feel like if they were going to kind of bring in Waz or someone like that, or, a melee in general, I feel like that would have already happened on the smaller map. I don't think we're going to see that in a potential game number 5 either. So I don't think the comps are going to change on either side for the remainder of this series.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. I really want to see Waz come out here on Method Supitis. What conditions would that require to see him come into play?
It's tough. I mean, their only option is Rogue Mage or Windwalker Mage. I feel like Windwalker would probably explode to this Ret Warrior comp at the moment, so I feel like it's not an option. Rogue is going to have a hard time kind of cutting through all of the healing and killing in a stun lock, especially like it was pointed out, Sefu's an Orc Warrior. You're probably going to have to go after the Rep Paladin. You need to kill them 100-0. If you don't, then they're going to Word of Glory back to full health. So after the nerfs to that and increased health pools on maximum gear, I feel like Subtlety Rogue is not really going to be seeing much play. That's why I don't think we're going to see Waz particularly. I think likely he's going to be on the bench for the rest of the series. As far as this kind of Shadow Priest Mage Paladin, they were able to win on Tolvaran. So on the big map, kind of stunning and silencing the trinkets, Zuniaki kind of being a key player, leaving the open space, because on that last map, what really stopped them was Mercy hiding around a corner and dropping War Banner. They were about to set up crowd control, but then, there's this War Banner, and it's actually really annoying to kill as a Shadow Priest. You either have to have a Mind Blast proc or a Devouring Plague, and the Fire Mage has to dump Fire Blasts that they want during Combust probably to kill it, or a couple Scorch crits. It's really annoying to kill as that comp particularly, and they're not going to go for a big map. What?
Wow, they didn't go to either of those maps. Tiger's Peak.
I mean, it's not a terrible map.
I'll let you guys go ahead. Sorry.
It's not a terrible map, but like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there's at least 2 better options here.
Yeah.
I don't actually mind this map. I feel like there's one spot in this map in particular that I kind of enjoy playing as Double Wizards, is around those circle platforms on the edges. If you run around those, you can kind of drag the team into a bad spot, and there's not going to be much line of sight for Lone Tar to really deal with. But what I want from Method, once again, get on your shoes and just run in circles around the outskirts of the map. Just keep dragging Valet, keep dragging Mercy and Mystic in this matchup, force Lone Tar to be extended in the open. I think that's the line of thinking. If they don't do that, I'm going to be really confused, but Tiger's Peak, not the worst map for the situation. It's just I'm kind of surprised they didn't utilize the other two.
Yeah, and with Reload Esports sticking to that melee cleave here, going into Tiger's Peak against Method's caster comp, do you feel like they're at a huge disadvantage, Supertees, or what do you think is the matchup here on Tiger's Peak?
I don't think they're really disadvantaged. I feel like it's like a fair shot even on their worst maps with this composition in particular, especially if the Warriors playing as well as Mercy is, just with the Overwatch reflects, War Banners, stunning down setups, fearing. I like this double stun they're doing where they Hammer of Justice the kill target because they know the Rep Paladin can't get to the healer. There's no way, and get back to the target. So instead they use Stormbolt, which is shorter. So you'd think like, oh, I want a longer stun on the healer so the healer can't heal as quickly, but the Rep Paladin's never getting to the healer. So the Warrior stuns the healer instead. The Rep Paladin stuns the damage target. And in that little 3-second window, that's enough time to get the Spear Bastion down. It's enough time to get the Divine Toll off, and you can kind of KO a target. So Reload Esports have that for offense. So despite the range DPS avoiding them and kiting, they can't win their Stormbolt and Hammer Justice. They're allocating it correctly in terms of targets. They're hitting it every time they've got it. And they retreat back defensively when they know they have nothing. They're just playing a really solid game right now. I mean, they're playing a Champions series at the moment, in my mind.
All right, here, well, game number 4, starting shortly, Tiger's Peak. It is Reload Esports versus Method.
Yeah, and I think this is it's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. I mean, Reload Esports, once again, they're just going to have to play defensive when they find themselves with no cooldowns. It's just all about surviving the go. And this composition is really strong for that. You have a lot of cooldowns you can rotate through. We did see at the beginning of the match, Method kind of catching them off guard by going after Mercy, getting the double fear into the Dragon's Breast Sheep on the Shaman, then maybe mixing it up is going to be Method's key to victory. If you can surprise them, if you can surprise Reload Esports and kind of not reveal the target you're going after, maybe you have a better chance of actually taking someone down, but we'll have to see what their positioning, what their target is going to be in this matchup, but Reload Esports is looking good in this series so far.
Absolutely. And Reload Esports 1 game away here from advancing to the upper bracket finals to face off against Skill Cap there. And whoever wins that goes to the grand finals. Of course, the loser here will drop down to the lower bracket, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Method has the map pick here, so this is their own map, and they have been able to win a game so far with that Shadow Priest Mage. Honestly, they've been playing it very coordinatedly. Nice blink there by Tessia. He gets the poly there onto Lontar. Lontar actually gonna be war bannered out of that one, I do believe there. Mercy immediately making big plays. Mystic getting Hammer of Justice, trinketing out of that one, and now looking to get the pressure onto Zuniaki. Fade activated immediately. Zuni looking for the Door of Shadows, and he is going to be able to reposition with that. That was a combustion there from Tessia, so not a bad opener here for Method, but also a nice response there by Reload Esports here in the opening stages. You get another poly, but unfortunately it looks like it broke there on Lontar, so 2 poly attempts there, and neither of them is going to stick. Tessia now he's going to look to reset his combustion here and try to set up the next go. Ooh, Zuniaki in a lot of trouble here. He needs to be extremely careful. Chaz in a full fear. Zuni kind of waiting with that dispersion and doesn't want to trade it out without the wings, but feels like he's kind of forced to do so anyway, and that is going to be an equalizer in momentum.
They switch back to Thesha. He's bullying Lontar, but he does manage to land a full polymorph. And Mystic used Glaire's Medallion earlier. Mercy needs to protect him, dropping that War Banner. He's got that Overwatch spell reflect, disrupting the crowd control and buying time for that, saving some medallions. Good play here so far from Reload Esports on match point. Big Divine Toll, Spear Bastion, 10% health, sacrifice from Chaz, redirecting the damage right before it was lethal. Hex on Thesha. Look at that sack damage on Chaz. They could even swap to Chaz and we get a Divine Shield. They're a bit reluctant to do it. They don't want to leave the Shadow Priest Mage open, and now they're starting to reposition towards the starting room. Void Eruption from Zuniaki, trying to ramp up some damage onto Mystic and dent the armor here. Lontar goes for a big heal. He could have been counterspelled on that. That was a bit risky. Now Hammer of Justice on Thesha, trying to pin him down. Silence on Lontar. Mystic has Avenging Wrath up. His healing's going to be very big here. Word of Glory back to full, dispelling off that Devouring Plague, but now caught with the Mind Games. Needs to be careful not to use Word of Glory during this time, but there's not enough pressure to really force it. Now caught into a polymorph. Thesha just trying to stall getting set up with that combustion, but there's not really any openings. Medallions available for all 3 members of Reload Esports. They really need to get a heavy hitting combustion here if they want to put themselves back in the game. It's not looking good for them on match point and their map pick. Thesha blinks in, Dragon's Breath, double Psychic Scream from Zuniaki, trying to set up 3-on-1 onto Mercy. Mercy and Mystic both trinket. Bit of an overlap there on their parts as Mystic wanted to use Sanctuary, but Mercy didn't want to get killed off by the combustion. That does leave an opening. Though, despite that, Zuniaki gets hit hard with that Blade Storm Avenging Wrath, having to use Dispersion, trades back and forth, now swapping over to Thesha, attacking the closest target. I really like Reload Esports, just constantly switching targets, setting up their defensives. Despite the mistakes that I think they're making, that overlap in medallions, having seen what combustion can do, I don't blame them for just wanting to react right away and avoid that. They know it's the scariest moment. It's practically the only moment they're going to die, so overcommitting slightly to it, I don't really mind, but it does leave an opening. They're going after Chaz a bit here. Just trying to wait, get into dampening. Zuniaki moves in. Mercy immediately blocks Zuniaki from pushing on top of Lone Tar. Thesha is trying to sneak in now as well, edging towards Lone Tar. Lone Tar just line of sight of him, realizing, if I avoid crowd control, the mage is taking free damage, so I'm just going to chill at the pillar. Thesha double blinks in with the soul shape, blinking in for the poly. Unfortunately, Lone Tar just trinkets, but he trinkets into a silence. They're trying to power through here. They can't kill, I don't think, without any more crowd control. Now Chaz in the stun. Zuniaki fades, trying to immune the Storm Bolt. Was he able to? A War Stomp instead comes through to lock down Zuniaki for a moment. Divine Toll. Big Templar's Verdicts from Mystic, but equally big heals from Chaz. Thesha is just chasing Lone Tar, finding a polymorph here. Mystic in trouble. Mirror images are slowing him. He pops the freedom to line of sight with Mercy. I'd love to see them swap to Lone Tar. I feel like the Shadow Priest mages have not been experimenting going after the healer enough, but Mercy, leap, Overwatch reflects during that Hammer of Justice. Nice play there on his part. Sanctuary breaks up the hammer. Actually, Lone Tar using Medallion and Ascendance because combustion is popped. This could be a scary moment. They need to allocate a lot of spells towards healing, but Mystic's being greedy. He wants to go for damage. Zuniaki trades Disperse, not able to get any pressure going. They look stable here. Mystic still with Divine Shield and the Medallion. No real openings for Method.
Yeah, not at this point. I mean, I like the fact that they went after Lone Tar, but Mercy was there to back him up. Mystic as well. And Method, unfortunately, not able to capitalize on that go. Mystic was just so far away, and that's what happens. If Thessia overcommits his mobility to get the crowd control on Lone Tar, he can't reconnect to his target, and Mystic knew that. He just went to the opposite pillar completely across the map. We've just stepped foot into dampening, and I mean, this is match point for Reload Esports. If they can win this game, they'll be sending Method down to the lower bracket, and that would be quite the statement. We'll have to see if Mystic and Mercy can actually get the pressure out that they need. Lone Tar right now into a polymorph, so they're going to be playing a little bit more safe at this particular point in the game. Chaz maybe even wanting to sit down for a drink, but they want to shut that down. That is another advantage that Reload Esports has in this match. If Chaz isn't able to drink, then mana will go in favor of Reload Esports.
Yeah, and now once again, Zuniaki backed up in a corner here. Might need to use that fade as soon as it comes off cooldown. He's waiting for his dispersion. Almost back up. They're going to swap to Thessia here. And Thessia needs to be extremely careful. He gets pummeled there on the polymorph. Mystic doing a lot of damage right now with those wings active. But Thessia now got to look for the blink polymorph. Actually soaks the interrupt and then goes for the blink polymorph. Gets it. Mystic and Mercy now kind of ducking behind the pillar. Mercy might drop a banner here behind that pillar. If it looks like they're going to swap to Lone Tar. Doesn't look like he needs it. And now once again getting back on his target. Zuniaki, the target of choice here. And it looks like the mana is somewhat equal here. Chaz was actually looking for a drink during that setup. Thessia with the soul shape as well. Just doing what he can to kite here. Lone Tar now in a full fear. Gets sanked out of that one. But caught up in a full sheep. Excellently done by Thessia. There's a combustion. Big damage coming out. They soak the meteor. But they're counter pressuring here with the wings. Zuniaki caught up in that spear of Bastion. Doing a lot of damage here still. Lone Tar resheep, and that was a full combust rotation by Thessia. Easily out healed there by Mystic, and of course that preemptive Earthen Wall Totem. Beautiful defense there by Reload Esports, and now there's no DRs there for Lone Tar, so they can just stay out in open field here, and that means Chad's gonna have to burn through a lot of his mana.
All right, let's see how much longer Method can keep this up here on match point. Avenging Wrath active for Mystic. His damage is maxed out. Who's he going to go after? He's trying to pull back to the pillar, actually. Not able to get any value out of that Reckoning. Thesha blinking on top of Lone Tar. Mystic repositions to rebuke it, denying the Polymorph for a moment. Unbound freedom to get out. Chaz is trying to drink. Can anyone stop the drink? Mystic's moving in. Lone Tar moves in. Cap Totem around the corner. Snipes Chaz. Thesha gets stunned up behind the balcony. Zuniaki grips him back to midfield. Nice positioning by Zuniaki, saving Thesha what could have been his ice block there if he was stunned behind the corner. Now they've got Avenging Wrath up from Chaz. They want to get aggressive. Where's the hammer going to go? Silence onto Lone Tar. They're holding on to the Sanctuary, waiting for a longer crowd control, but Thesha is casting freely on Mystic. Looks like he's healed himself back up. Psychic Horror locking the Ret Paladin down for a moment. Psychic Scream onto the whole team, but Mystic is now out of crowd control, building up Holy Power, getting ready to Word of Glory if he needs to. Doesn't look like he's got it. He's just casting Flash of Light around the pillar. Lone Tar at the pillar just casting Lava Burst. Mercy leaps in to stop the drink from Chaz. I love that all of them are working together to set up to stop these drinks. This is really masterful play by Reload Esports facing Method, a roster that's notoriously powerful in Europe at the moment. They're really taking it to him here. Thesha down to half. Stormbolt, Lava Burst, big damage combos coming in on Thesha. Soul Shape activates. Thesha's trying to escape, and now they swap to Chaz. Chaz was in the line of path, kiting of Thesha. They immediately switched to him. Fortunately for him, I think he got an Awakening proc on his Avenging Wrath, so he's going to have big heals here for a moment. He actually gets feared on it. Nice intimidating shout by Mercy, but now Thesha polymorphing him away. Zuniaki fades to immune the incoming damage. And it looks like he should stabilize with the Holy Light bombed in from the corner on Chaz. Just Holy Light after Holy Light, trying to stabilize through the pressure here. Lone Tar looks like he may be trying to drink. No, just lobbying Lava Burst. Silent stun combo. Beautifully set up. And nope, that's eradication for Mystic in game number 4. Method take it to match point, but that is not an easy thing to replicate.
Wow, okay, no, 2-2 here for these teams here. Match point, like you said, Supertees, in this best of 5 series. Loser of this goes down to the lower bracket, which we'll see play out later on today. I think it's going to be our last match of the day, and Method really showing why they still deserve to be here in that position. I mean, what a turnaround for them, Zico.
Yeah, really, really nice swap there. They are able to get that big combustion meteor one shot. And, you know, it's kind of been the theme of the day. I feel like a lot of teams have kind of died without using their bubbles, without using their trinket spirit links and stuff like that. And, you know, you can definitely put some of that on the players, but also I think it's because it's a new expansion and, you know, it's also the first tournament. So I think a lot of these teams, they're not used to the damage. They're not used to being in these situations yet. So we are going to see, you know, overlaps and you know, under answering to a lot of these setups. And I think that was one of those situations there. Mystic thought he was fine. Maybe he wanted to greed out one Word of Glory and try to hold his bubble. Sometimes it wins you the game. Sometimes it lets you die without using bubble. It is what it is. They still have that next game advantage. You know, Method as well. So far, looking like the best Shadow Priest mage we've seen in the tournament.
Did we see this composition much at all last in BFA, the Shadow Priest mage? I don't remember seeing it ever. But
Maybe
I could be wrong here.
a little bit at the beginning, but I feel like later on it kind of phased out. Didn't really see too much Fire Mage Shadow Priest either. I think
True.
it just right now Fire Mage, it works so well with the Shadow Priest, just because you're basically your kill window where you can actually win the game is really, really short, and that pairs really nicely with Combustion. So when you do get that instant crowd control with the silence, with the disarm, with the fear, the Fire Mage can combust and try to take someone down really, really quickly. So I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing it be really, really strong. And I also think the Shadow Priest Frost Mage, although probably worse than the Fire Mage in every way, if we do see a Frost Mage, it will likely be with a Shadow Priest. So maybe something we can see in the future, but for this series, I would say absolutely not. But yeah, really well done there by Method, capitalizing on that kind of mismanagement of defensive cooldowns. They were able to pull out a win. Now they've tied up this series, and I think this is really interesting. I would expect that we go to a really small map, and that's going to be kind of the final test for Method to make it into that upper finals.
All right, but before we talk about this game number 5, let's take a look at the replay from game number 4.
Let's do it.
All right, so Mystic was in a preemptive Earthenwall totem there, and I think he got intervened as well during his setup. So No, he's right. He's 1 yard outside of it. Look at him. He's like trying to stay on the outskirts. He's walking back into it. Okay, he gets charged in it, and he just
Meteor does not care.
dies. Yeah, and Mercy actually, Tessia did a great meteor placement there. He placed it right so it only hits Mystic and doesn't hit Mercy. And yeah, if Mercy soaks that meteor does not kill Mystic. But because of how well Tessia placed it, it's gonna hit only Mystic and just erase him.
Mm-hmm. Now, when we saw Method lock in Tiger's Peak, you guys were saying that was a little bit of a questionable choice. You guys would rather have seen them play something like Ashermain. So now that we saw them with that victory, do we like that decision? How did we see them utilize Tiger's Peak to their advantage, Supatis?
I mean, they just used the outside portions of the map. I think that one time where Zuniaki life gripped Thesha all the way from one corner is still a lot of open space. Like, it wasn't a horrible map, it just wasn't the best map. They were able to pull it off. Again, Mystic could have bubbled, and I feel like that game really wasn't going in their favor outside of a kill like that, where the other team just under-responds. They felt like they were safer than they were, but again, the placement of the Meteor, Earthenwald only reduces damage slightly, so if you hit a player for a 15k Meteor, that's a 14.5k Meteor instead. That's still a lot of damage, so they just weren't ready for it. They were over-trading earlier in the game, and then they under-traded right there at the end, and that's why I said I wasn't blaming them earlier in the game when they overtrade sometimes, because that's really the only time where their health is going to dip that fast and that low. But now they get to go to their map, they can go to Hook Point. I feel like if they go to this is
there it is.
This is I feel like almost Method should try to kill Lone Tar, double fear, double DB, ring, DPS, maybe try and get on top of Lone Tar a little bit on this map. The Shadow Priest Mage with stun and silence can do a lot of damage as long as they cross crowd control the warrior and the paladin at the same time, like bait them out into the open, double GB them, double ring them, jump on top of the shaman or something, because trying to dampen this fight on Hook Point's gonna be really hard.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll see here shortly. Reload Esports tying it up against Method. Game 5 in the beginning of the series. This is kind of where we expected to be at all, Zico?
I expected the series to be kind of close, but I don't know I don't know who I would actually predict to win here. I feel like on paper you would always write Method up as the better team, but I think compositionally right now in this meta, Reload Esports, they have the exact right classes that they need, you know? The fact that Mercy is able to pick up the warrior and perform on it is exactly what they needed, because right now it's a good meta for, Belay on the Shadow Priest, it's a good meta for Mystic on his main, that Ret Shaman, Ret Pala, and as well as Lontar on that Shaman. So they basically have the perfect storm. If they can get a warrior, they put in the time to actually get one, and now they find themselves, with the map advantage in game 5 here against one of the best teams we've seen.
All right, here we go. Gates are open. Match point. Mercy on his mount, not charging in just yet. A bit reluctant to, having seen that last game, the way it ended. They don't want to overextend. I like the positioning, though, so they're not stacked up for a triple Dragon's Breath, as Thesha is invisible at the moment. And it looks like they're just going to wait out the invisibility, playing out as standard of a game as possible. Now that they can see the mage, okay, it's time to attack. We're not going to get triple Dragon's Breath. Jump right on the mage, which means that Zuniaki needs to try and slip through on the left side. Are they going to swap to Zuniaki while he repositions on top of Lone Tar? Spear of Bastion down here onto Thesha. Huge crack of damage, and Chaz has to sacrifice immediately right off the bat. I don't really mind that trade. It's basically all the cooldowns from Reload Esports, but now he's actually getting swapped to. If they can net Divine Shield on the swap, that would be devastating. They get Avenging Wrath, but not Divine Shield. They get right back onto Thesha. They want to stop all the polymorphs that they can, and they just feel like the Shadow Priest CC isn't that threatening. Silence connects here. Mystic's going to trinket during the silence, as it is Combustion. Pop off with that Avenging Wrath from the Reckoning. Try and heal himself up here with some Word of Glories, and that's going to be more than enough healing to survive the Combustion. Now Combustion's down, Void Form is down. Reload Esports need to get aggressive.
Yes, they do, and it looks like they're going to. Hammer of Justice on Chaz. Thessia deflects the situation with a double Dragon's Breath, but the Warstorm comes in from Mystic. They're just continuing this pain train on Thessia, just going to be rushing him down basically the entire game. The Lone Tar is just in a position where he can always line of sight, always get off the purges when he needs, and that's why this map is so good. Chaz is going to burn through his mana really quickly, and we're going to have to see Zuniaki really try to set up his team in this matchup. Mystic line of sighting, or see diffusing Zuniaki just a little bit with a Stormbolt. Now both of them relocating on Thessia, trying to continue this damage. It's going to be really difficult for Thessia to actually reset that combustion, and that's the main problem. If Thessia never gets away, he doesn't get to cast many fireballs, and they just fall further and further behind on actually getting their goes, which is the only chance they're actually going to win the game. Meteor drops down. It is not combustion. It is not enough damage. Then Mystic will be able to hold on, more than likely. Spiritling Totem actually drops, and Ascendant. A surprising amount of damage coming in from the side of Method. They actually are able to get some key defensive cooldowns from Reload Esports.
I feel like they over-answered a little bit there, but given what has happened in the past, I don't think it's too bad. The problem is, I feel like you should over-answer when they pop Combust. That was not the combustion, so now Thessia is going to have a nice big window where you can get a big Combust out and potentially force out the Divine Shield. But right now, Mercy Blade Storming after Thessia here, doing a lot of damage. Mystic with the wings as well. We know what can happen here if they get a big Divine Toll, if they get a big crit. And now here we go. This is the attempt to force out the bubble. Lontar in a full Panda Racial, and Mystic immediately having to use that bubble right there. Lontar doesn't want to Trinket, doesn't have that Spirit Link to combo with it, and it also didn't have that Grounding Totem to combo with it. So nice opening there by Method. They see it and they take it and they build it up on that previous setup. Now Thessia taking massive damage here once again. Chaz in a Cap Totem, but no follow-up crowd control. Chaz powering through with the wings right now, but Thessia still getting stuck here. Nice Shadow Mouth coming out there, and Chaz, I do believe, getting Storm Bolted right there, and Thessia still going to be able to stay alive for a little bit longer. Earthenwall Totem trades out now as well. Lontar here anticipating CC. There it is. Triple CC. Sheep onto Mercy. The Ring of Frost onto Lontar out of the Fear. Mystic taking a lot of damage. The Mind Games not going to be able to connect there. Mystic 3v1 with those wings. Going to be able to keep himself alive, and now looks to turn the pressure back onto Thessia.
All right, let's see if they can keep it up here. They're falling behind on cooldowns. They're trying to push for Cauterizer block here. Well, they find it. Huge hit. Life grip from Zuniaki. Good positioning there between the two, despite this being the smallest map. That was the longest distance life grip that they could really get. Lone Tar lobbing in Lava Burst. Very important for him to maximize damage with his team to crack down that Triune Ward. We see the Spear of Bastion down on Thessia. He's stuck inside the circle for a bit, blinking as soon as it's over, using Alter Time as well, soaking up all the damage and likely healing himself up to full here in the future. Relocating for a cheeky Polymorph attempt, but gets shut down by a Hammer of Justice. Chaz is trying to drink, but Thessia is getting shredded. Huge damage. Chaz has to sacrifice here on that Wake of Ashes hit, bombing in some Holy Lights from the back line. Are they going to be able to get aggressive? Double Dragon's Breath intercepts. Thessia blinks back defensively. Zuniaki sneaks in, maybe for a Psychic Scream, but the pre-Warbander, they snipe it off with a Pyroblast, Shadow Word Pain. Ring of Frost connects on a Mystic around the corner. They're trying to set up Chaz for a drink. It's likely that Method want to take this game into dampening and kind of abuse the fact that Mystic doesn't have Divine Shield. If he charges out to stop the drink, he may die. So I really like that strategy and tactic from Method at this time, and they net themselves a full mana bar on their Holy Paladin, trying to play a slow and steady game in game number 5 and not take any risks. Here we see that stun silence combo from Zuniaki, but no damage really to back it up. Double power infusion, but no combustion, just a void form. I don't think that's enough. No crowd control found on anybody here so far. Mystic dispelled into the Polymorph, stun on the Thessia, Spear of Bastion down, Hammer of Reckoning procs. Huge hit from Mystic with that Wake of Ashes, and Thessia has to immediately Ice Block. Shattering Throw cracks that Ice Block. Thessia blinks away with the Blazing Barrier. Chaz trying to top him off. Double Frost Nova, double Freedom. Mystic and Mercy looking to connect, but Zuniaki slips in the back line, gets a Psychic Scream. Mystic now in trouble. Will he go down here? Dispelling Mystic out, Shield of Vengeance, but it's Combustion. Still very scary damage for the mage, potentially. Thessia blinks in for Poly, gets shut down by Lone Tar. Combustion is about to run out, and with it, likely the series, as Method really don't have any threats for some time. Mystic's got Divine Shield coming up in just a moment, and I mean, I would be terrified if I was Thessia. He's trying to escape with that Soul Shape. Mystic goes in for the Hammer. Zuniaki Master Spells it instantly. Now they swap over to Zuniaki, just trying to maximize that damage. The only thing really going for Method right now is that they set up that drink earlier, but in terms of defense, I mean, there's really not a lot left.
There's basically nothing left. There's no ice block. Actually, sacrifice is coming up. That's going to be a huge emergency cooldown Chaz has available. But the consistent damage from Mystic and Mercy at dampening, especially 8% at this point, it's just going to get more and more difficult. But they're going for it. Can they take down Mystic? Well, let's see if they're able to do it. Do they have the damage? It's no combustion. Looks like Mystic will easily shrug off that go, despite Lone Tar being in a polymorph. Hammer of Justice now on Chaz. Big damage with the Spear of Bastion onto Thessia. But it looks like he will be able to stabilize. Chaz gets out of the crowd control. A big Holy Light tops him off. But still, with no Ice Block and no Cauterize, you can never be feeling too confident against that Warrior Rep Paladin as a mage. And there's still some time before he can, in fact, get that combustion off cooldown. Lone Tar in position, throwing in some Lava Burst, getting off the Purges. Big damage. And right now, Thessia is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and that was the Blessing of Protection there from Chaz to remove that stun on Thessia. And right now, Thessia actually polymorphs himself there, trying to get a little bit of HP. Here we go. Big damage coming out onto Mystic. They didn't overuse cooldowns right there. Mystic only using his Trinket there. Lone Tar still going to have his Trinket Spirit Link to fall back on. They still have the Divine Shield. Mana bar in favor of Chaz, but he is spending the mana a lot quicker than Lone Tar is. Lone Tar mostly spending it on Purges at this point. You can see Lone Tar here with his team. He's got the Sky Fury down. There's the wings. Anything could globalize this mage right here. But nice grip once again by Zuni. Always positioning super far away from his mage. Gripping the mage, and now they're going to turn their pressure on to Zuni here. Big damage coming in still. Mercy in a polymorph. If it get dispelled, well, look what Chaz. He's ready to press Hammer of Justice. They're ready with the Combust. And Lone Tar doesn't have his grounding totem. He knows that the setup is happening. Chooses not to dispel that polymorph. Very, very intelligent play there. Even though it might look like the wrong thing to do, it is 100% the right thing to do. And there we go. Drops the preemptive Earthen Wall totem here as well. Zuni going to be repositioning. And now Lone Tar going to be pushing up with his teammates so he can start dispelling some of these crowd controls. Try to shut down some of these polymorphs. There's a grounding totem. On that one, there's the Wind Shear. Thessia looking for the Dragon's Breath. Lone Tar ducking to the opposite side. Zuni looking for the Fear. And Lone Tar is just basically dodging CC left, right, and center. Now Chaz caught up in a Hammer of Justice. Mercy and Mystic pushing Zuni away from the pillar, but now once again they leave Thessia free. Dragon's Breath, Sheep, Mercy, Trinket, War Banner, and they actually kill it off before the Sheep lands, and that's gonna net the bubble here as well. 2-for-1 cooldowns in that push. Excellently done, but Thessia now needs to get out of there as well before he gets caught up behind the pillar. He's able to do so. Double Fear coming out as well, and this is just excellent play after excellent play from Method. If they can keep this up, they could easily win this game still.
All right, Mystic, a prime target right now. No Divine Shield likely for the rest of the game. That's going to be a risky gamble to play on match point here in Game 5. Lone Tar needs to be ready. He's got Spirit Link Totem, lobbing out that Earth Elemental, trying to get some maximum damage here onto Thessia during that stun lock. But Thessia Trinkets blinks in, double polymorph cast, gets Overwatch reflected by Mercy. Beautiful shutdown on that attempt there. Now Thessia has basically no mobility. Blessing of Freedom's up, but he's getting chopped away at 26% dampening. Chaz has to trade Sacrifice before the Avenging Wrath. Mystic has a huge smack of damage available. Lone Tar grounds incoming crowd control, trying to buy time for his team. Mystic uses Blessing of Protection to try and preempt something here, but it's not going to be too much, and Lone Tar drops Spirit Link, anticipating a lot of damage. It was prior to the combustion. That comes up in 30 seconds for Thessia if he can manage to hold things together, but maybe they're even swapping over to Chaz. He's going to use Divine Protection. Mystic's trying to chop him up with the Avenging Wrath. Chaz is just playing this patiently, kiting away with the Freedom, avoiding Mercy. Mercy and Mystic trying to get back onto Thessia. Lone Tar repositioned back to the pillar. Dispels a Vampiric Touch, though. Can't set up any crowd control, unfortunately. Mystic, though, could get blasted. Combustion available. We saw how quickly he went down in that last game. This is a scary moment. There's not much left here for Reload Esports, despite it looking so good. Potentially, Method just take it out with a one-hit wonder. Combustion, double Psychic Scream. Gets pre-Tremor Totem by Lone Tar. Nice play disrupting that. That could have been the setup to win. Thessia blinking away with Chaz, trying to kite, but now bringing him into Hammer of Justice range. They could swap to the Holy Paladin and shatter the bubble if he's not careful. Cap Totem out. Lone Tar into silence. Are they going to pop Combust? That's the power infusion. They're desperate here. Are they going to go for it? Are they going to hold it as a threat for later? It looks like Thessia wants to hold it for a threat later on. Committing Void Form and Combustion here and not getting a kill means that Reload Esports could have their way with them, so I'd like the patience to hold it off. Chaz tries to sit down for a bit of a drink here as this game has been going on for some time. Almost 40% dampening. Chaz stunned up. Thessia stunned up. There's the Spear of Bastion. Zuniaki sneaking in. Oh, the Life Grip gets pulled back. The Blink gets pulled back. Big mistakes here by Method. If they can reconnect to Thessia, surely Surely this is going to be a cauterizer, an ice block. They're just chopping him to pieces. That Spirit Bastion is getting huge value right now. Ice block force. Where's the shatter? Shattering throw immediately onto Thesha. He tries to blink. He gets charged on his blink. He's looking for Polly. Polly lands a Mystic. Instant dispelled into a Wincher. Double Dragon's Breath. Hammer of Justice. They're desperate. And they might pull it up. They do. The Meteor connects right at the last second with Combustion, pulling off a kill. Mystic doesn't want to give up, though. Avenging Wrath available. I think it's unlikely with Sacrifice. It's over. He's tapping out. Method pull it off 3-2.
Wow. Wow. All right, Method. That was a little bit unfortunate for Reload Esports. They almost had it. They were right there. And then, man, Method just securing that victory at the last moment, Ben.
I mean, yeah, I have to watch the replay. I'm not sure how that setup happened, if there was a setup, if he just got one shot, but things were looking good there. I feel like, I mean, Method played that game absolutely phenomenal.